What's going on, everyone? Welcome into NBA Now. The NBA is back. We had NBA Media Day yesterday, so we'll take you guys to the top news and rumors from across the association. Later, we'll go through the top Lakers rumors. We got a lot to go over. Anthony Davis joins a new agency. Klay Thompson talks about free agency. We'll get to that a little bit later, and then we'll go through my top 5 star players who could be traded at some point this season. So, let's get into our rumors from NBA Media Day. Let's start with updating you on what's going on with Jimmy Butler. So the original plan with Jimmy Butler was for him to be traded by the time Timberwolves Media Day came around, so either yesterday or on Sunday. Obviously, that has not happened so far, but what has happened is that Tom Thibodeau did have a private meeting with Jimmy Butler to try to convince him to stay, and Jimmy Butler just flat out refused. He has no plans to play for the Minnesota Timberwolves again, so expect a trade very soon. In fact, we could see a Jimmy Butler trade come down today or tonight. So we've been kind of taking you guys through a couple teams that we think could be interested in Jimmy Butler and who could end up making a move for him. I want to know from you guys first, where do you think Jimmy Butler will get traded? Personally, I thought all along it was going to be either the Clippers or the Nets, and I still am on that boat that it's going to be either the Clippers or the Nets. But there is a team that has kind of thrust their way into the conversation that we didn't initially anticipate. And that's the Miami Heat, who apparently have been the most aggressive team so far for Jimmy Butler. Pat Riley is desperate for this team to get another star. And we also know that Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler are quite close off the court as well. A couple other teams we've heard have registered some interest have been the Detroit Pistons, who probably want to add another star to their Andre Drummond-Blake Griffin duo. And then the Cleveland Cavaliers initially had some interest. However, they don't really have the picks nor the young players in order to excite the Minnesota Timberwolves. So for now, look for the Clippers, the Heat, or the Nets to make a move for Butler. They kind of seem to be the top 3 teams who are going after him right now. Let's talk about Kawhi Leonard. So Kawhi is officially a Toronto Raptor. He was introduced yesterday. Talked a little bit, or as much as Kawhi Leonard really does enjoy talking. He said, quote, "If you look to the future, you'll trip on the present," when he was asked about his free agency plans for this offseason. So we always talk about how Kawhi Leonard doesn't really talk to the media. And I understand why, because no matter what Kawhi Leonard does, he will just end up getting made fun of for it. So Kawhi Leonard got asked the question during media day. He couldn't find the reporter in the crowd and ended up laughing. And it seems that the robot Kawhi Leonard ran the laugh program and things kind of malfunctioned. Check out this creepy laugh that Kawhi Leonard had yesterday. Very strange. I love the blank stare also afterwards. Just the random blank stare from Kawhi Leonard. This is why he doesn't talk to the media. It's all our fault, because whenever he does, a little thing will go wrong, and we just turn him into a social media fiasco. So Kawhi Leonard does seem very happy with the Raptors. He says he is perfectly healthy and that he is excited for this upcoming season. We didn't get any clues about whether or not we could see him on the Lakers or staying with the Raptors, but for now, Kawhi Leonard does seem to be happy in Toronto. Let's go into Karl Anthony Towns. So Towns talked about his new extension and whether or not Jimmy Butler had any involvement in his contract, saying, quote, "He signed it because he wants to be here." Also said it was an awkward situation when he signed, saying that they could write a book about the talks that he was having with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, they did ask him specifically whether or not Jimmy Butler being on the team had anything to do with him signing the extension. However, he did decline that notion, yet he hinted to it a couple more times throughout the rest of the press conference. So clearly there is some sort of involvement here between Karl Anthony Towns, Jimmy Butler, and the extension that he signed. But with Butler being on his way out, Karl Anthony Towns is staying and signed his 5-year, $158 million extension. Towns also said he's happy it's over and that he's ready for the challenge of this season. Probably one of the bigger headlines we had yesterday is that Carmelo Anthony is okay coming off the bench. So they initially asked him what his plans were with his upcoming season, if he was okay with the role he was going to have. And he just kept saying the same thing over and over and over again, saying, quote, "I'm willing to do whatever is needed to win." He went on to say that he's fine coming off the bench if that's what the team needed. Now, this is a complete 180 from what we had with Carmelo Anthony last season where they asked him to come off the bench during a press conference and he laughed at the reporter. So it's good to see that Melo understands that maybe he just can't really be the primetime Melo he wants to be on this Rockets team. And I've said it before, I think bench Melo is going to be the best Melo for this upcoming season. A lot of the workouts that he's been having this year, every player that's worked out with him has been stunned with how good he's looked so far. So we'll see if Melo can turn his game around this year. But if he's willing to come off the bench, I think things will bode well for Houston. Let's talk a little bit of Celtics. Gordon Hayward, according to just about everyone on the Celtics, looks perfectly fine. Marcus Smart even took this to another level, saying if you didn't know what happened to him, you never would have known the type of injury he had, saying, quote, he looks like nothing ever happened. Apparently, he's been a full participant in pickup games so far between the team, and with practice officially starting today with the Celtics, everyone is excited to see what he'll be like during practice this year for the Celtics. All the players are pumped. Al Horford is stunned by the amount of talent they have on the team. Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kyrie Irving, they're all saying the same thing. They are absolutely stunned by how much talent is on this team, and they're all very excited for the upcoming season. But the number one thing that we had from NBA Media Day yesterday, especially for the Boston Celtics, was Kyrie Irving talking about how much he loves Boston, going so far to say that he wants his number retired in the rafters one day in TD Garden. They asked him specifically about his free agency plans, and he went on to say, quote, I believe that Boston is the place for me. Now, this is a big-time 180 from what the media has been spouting all offseason. Now, I've been telling you all offseason long that Kyrie Irving to the Knicks was an overblown and completely a media-created entity. Now we're seeing Kyrie Irving saying, no, this is not something that's going to happen. I want to stay with the Celtics. They're going to end up offering me a contract, and we're going to end up staying. So BetDSI has given us some special odds here at NBA Now for you guys to bet on. Head to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code LIVE120. So one of the great odds that they gave us this season is, will Kyrie Irving sign with the Knicks? So they gave us these odds. If you think yes, they give us odds of plus 365, which means if you put down $10, you will win $36.50. No at minus 595 is a little bit, less of a return. If you put down $10, you'll only get about $2 back total, but the total payout will end up being $12. If you put down $100, you'll end up getting $128. So use that promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. Kyrie Irving seems like he's going to sign with the Celtics. So if you want to make some quick change, put some money down on no, head to BetDSI, use chatsports.com/bet, and use some of those special odds that they're giving us here at NBA Now. We'll get to a couple more of those later in the show.